right. Hello, everyone. I have a very special treat for everyone today. We have the Lord of Leaves here to help us understand and unpack more of what is in the psychic tea that is part of our Halloween special edition box. And then I'm going to jump in with the astrology and the psychism and psychic ability. So this is really cool as far as just talking about some of the building blocks of building magic and co-creating with universe and manifesting and feeling good and feeling elevated, incorporating into daily life, but kind of like everything in one place. So I'm very, very excited. Thank you so much for being here to initiate us in the knowledge of the magic of herbs. So do you want to take it away and start talking about the tea in the books?
So mugwort is the primary esoteric herb that goes into the tea. And then we incorporated chamomile and passion flower because that helps with sleep. That's the primary ingredients in my sleep tea is chamomile and passion flower. Um, because passion flower has sedative properties. And I think when you tested the tea and I tested the tea, you kind of got the effects of that a little bit. It kind of just hits you and then you're asleep. Um, and chamomile's very widely used. A lot of people use chamomile and all sorts of things. You can find it in the regular grocery store and regular teas. So chamomile is one of those very popular teas to use to unwind at the end of the day. But the mugwort in this is what is has a lot of folklore behind it and esoteric meaning to it. I don't know if you want me to cover some of that folklore that we discussed that one day.
Definitely. First, I do have a question. First of all, make sure to check out Apothecafe. That website will be in the description box below. That is where that is also where the flow is going. I have a question about this layering. So you're talking about mugwort and chamomile and passion flower, right?
Mhm.
And okay, so I'm kind of seeing like that scene in Inception where the guy is like, putting this like sleep aid for the dreamers to go under in this deep sleep and to do all these different levels of dreaming. So when you're putting this together, what is your approach to that? Like, how do you conceptualize that in your mind?
Um, I mean, I pretty much just try to use in any of the teas and stuff that I make the knowledge that I learned when I took my courses, and I have an herbal remedies encyclopedia that's too big to carry around. That you kind
Mhm.
of with anything like a tincture or tea or anything, you're gonna take your ingredients that you know are for specific things, and then you kind of want to tailor them together so that they work the way you want them to. So with mugwort being one of those herbs that has a rich history of protection from evil in a lot of the folklore, but also it kind of it's been known to aid in creating lucid dreams or psychic dreams. So that's why I picked mugwort because it has such a rich history in creating that sort of thing, and paired it with the chamomile because and passion flower when your deepest sleep is where you'll have the most vivid dreams. And I mean, you know more about astral travel than I do, but it's kind of that REM cycle that you want to get into, so that's why we needed to pair all those things. And then the spearmint was just there's spearmint in it also. That's just to kind of mask the flavor of the mugwort. It doesn't have a potent flavor like valerian root does, but that will give it a nice flavor in the tea.
That is so cool. That's like Sally in The Nightmare Before Christmas, where she's like frog's breath, and doctor. That is so cool. That's awesome. So you're just totally with your potions and everything. That's pretty cool. So with the and by the way, I did test this, you guys, and I had this tea, this Apothecafe tea, and it did like I felt like these waves of like the drowsy just sort of like coming over me. So it is very effective. And I'm someone that has a little bit of and if you have anything with your so sleep is going to be the moon in astrology. So if you have a moon that is very active or that has some difficult aspects, or you have a moon that is maybe a little hostile, that could definitely affect your sleep. So I have like a Mercury square Pluto, so I don't have like that shut off valve. So I'm just saying that it means a lot that I tried this magical tea and that it was actually like having this effect on me and is helping me really kind of just settle down essentially. So that's really cool that you had that like layering into it. Tell us more about the folklore that you're saying about the mugwort.
Um, so it's a lot of different cultures, right? So the Chumash Native Americans that were on the West Coast used it. What they would do is they would burn it like our incense, or you're gonna have a mugwort smudge in that kit. So they would burn it and they would inhale the smoke at nighttime, and that was to protect them from evil spirits while they slept, and it helped them have those vivid dreams that they were looking for. So that's part of a little bit of the American folklore. But most of it is stems from like Europe, the Anglo Saxons in the Middle Ages. They would hang it over their doors for protection, but they also believed in something called elf shot. If anybody's ever heard of that or into like the fairy folklore, they believed in elves and fairies and witchcraft back then. They thought that there was like invisible arrows that they would shoot that would cause pain and kind of overcome them. So they used mugwort to protect themselves from that. Um, Mugwort was also in absinthe when it first came out in the 1800s, but it was a different variety. It's not used in absinthe anymore because it would create hallucinations. So they did away with that out of the liquor. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to equate that to a movie. The only thing I remember is if anyone's seen Van Helsing, they drank absinthe in that, and I think he kind of just like passed out because it was pretty potent. So that's why they took wormwood. Wormwood's the term that they used for mugwort for that. They took that out of absinthe.
Oh, I didn't know that wormwood was another name for the
Hmm.
mugwort. Okay, because absinthe's supposed to be, like, real bitter, right? Like, just I
Yeah,
haven't tried it, but, like, real, like,
yeah, because of the fennel and everything in it. Um,
um
Artemisia is the scientific name for mugwort and wormwood and all of that, named after the Greek goddess. Um,
mm,
so there's some rulings to that with the moon also because I don't know I don't know if we actually had that conversation, but astrology does affect plants the same as it affects humans. There's certain plant I have a list here too that I can send you sometime, but there's certain plants are ruled by certain planets the same as we are. So
oh, that's
I'll
so
send
cool.
that over to you. You can use it sometime. There's actually a cool book that people can pick up um, that has a whole ton of stuff in it that's pretty fascinating
Oh, that's
about
cool.
plants
Um,
and their usage. Um, but yeah, folklore most prominent was Ireland and England because they believed in fairies and all of that stuff, and they thought that that warded off their evil. Um, and witchcraft, we had the Salem witch trials here, but that all started in England, so that was a little bit them using swags and stuff over their doors of mugwort to protect themselves. And then I thought it was pretty cool. There's some texts out there that there's St. John's feast day, so the midsummer's eve festivals, people tend to make crowns of mugwort to protect themselves, and that comes from some texts that indicates that John the Baptist wore mugwort when he was in the wilderness to protect himself. There's no like proof of that, obviously, but it's something that's been discussed.
I absolutely love that. Crowns of Mugwort. We'll have to explore that. We'll have to open that one up. And I love that it's got I'm sure it has some kind of correspondence or correlation to the crown chakra, just as you're saying, as like the planetary correspondences with all of the plants. I mean, that's just like so much knowledge. I always meant to learn all the herbal stuff, but it just seems like so much. How did you get into it? How did you start?
I mean, I worked at a garden center a few years ago for like almost 10 years, and I enjoyed working outdoors and learning about herbs and all sorts of things. And then when 2020 happened and the pandemic made its way here, I was laid off for a little bit of time. It was only actually a week, and then I went back to work. But in that process of watching everybody struggle through the beginning of COVID and not knowing how things were going to go and being scared about their well-being, I decided to start taking some of the downtime that I had when we were slow because of the quarantine to learn something else. And I got into the course and I took it to get my herbalist diploma. And I think it's fascinating in general just because maybe modern medicine doesn't buy into it because, big pharma, you don't want to heal yourself. They want you to use pharmaceuticals, but there's been a lot of studies into plants like lavender and elderberry and all sorts of things. And I can say from experience, I was around COVID cases regularly at the beginning because I was working with the public, and we had a lot of cases going on. And I had like my own little herbal regimen that I was doing. And I didn't get sick with COVID until 2 years into it. So, like,
Wow.
not that it's related, but after I had my vaccine was when I got COVID. Um, so I believe in it. I kept myself very healthy throughout the beginning of the pandemic, and herbalism is what got me there.
That's fascinating. That is way cool. I mean, you kept the momentum going when everything else came to a crashing halt. Like the whole world came to a crashing halt. That's true to your Aries spirit.
Yeah, I
Very,
mean,
very
I
much
wanted
so.
to I wanted to dive into that and make sure I had, like, a backup plan for myself if I couldn't work in the public anymore. And I think a lot of people were struggling to find affordable healthcare and all of that, so that's just another avenue to go down.
Wow. That's awesome. That's way cool. And so you already had this wonderful background and this familiarity that, was kind of like a great segue to go in and take this diploma course. Cool, way cool, man.
Thank you.
Um, okay, so I mean, I love the idea of the crowns of any kind of like with the flowers. So mugwort, as far as being something that you can wear and you can smudge and you can tincture and you can tea. Do you notice any kind of difference with all of those, or do you kind of just naturally gravitate towards one of those?
I mean, tea, I've used tinctures before too and made a few. I prefer tea. I'm a heavy tea drinker. I have a whole cabinet out there of stuff that I didn't make, but I bought other elsewhere. We are including that elixir. So the elixir that you talked about is the same thing as a tincture, and you make those by soaking your dried herbs in alcohol, like a heavy alcohol. And then what I'm going to do, we have it all ready to go. I just need to water it down because the last process of that is adding the water. But what happens is the alcohol extracts the herbal properties of the herbs that you have in there, and you let it sit for a few weeks, and then you add water. You put it in your tincture bottles. Typically, you want to use that under the tongue. Couple drops under the tongue is more potent because you're absorbing it quicker. Um, but you can also put it in drinks. Now, they don't necessarily need to do that because they also have the tea in this kit. So there's a couple ways that they can use it.
I think that's one of the things I'm most excited for this kit is that you've got like variations of uses. Like you've got the tea, you've got the tincture, you've got the smudge, to kind of whatever you're guided towards. I remember kind of recently, it was when I was having the tea that you sent, and there I started to feel something. My spidey senses were kind of going off a little bit, and I was feeling like maybe I don't know if it was like a curse or a hex or just a negative energy, but I definitely felt, or it might have been someone sending some kind of like little demon or something. I don't know. But it felt very targeted. Let me put it this way. Because we're talking about protection, we're talking about psychic protection. It felt very targeted, very on purpose. And I kind of stopped working at my computer, and I had the tea, so I was already in this good, positive vibe, but I felt it so very distinctly. And I just gave it a moment and I waited, and my alarm went off. It was some kind of, I think it was like the fire alarm, and it just said, fire, fire, emergency, emergency, alarm, alarm. And there was nothing happening. There was nothing wrong. There was nothing, on fire. There was no smoke. And that was because it was right around when I was like asking for, because I was having that tea before segueing into like a meditation, going to bed, winding down. And so I was already, in that state. And once I got that confirmation that I was kind of asking for, like, let me give this my attention. And just so you guys know, wherever you put your focus, that's where the attention goes. That's what's going to expand more. So, got that confirmation, alarm, alarm. Then that's when I went for the frankincense. And for me, it's the smoke that it's like my go-to. So I had already felt like my body was very safe because I had that tea. Like that tea was really cool, man. I love this tea, you guys. Like I love the chocolate chai, I love the psychic tea, like honestly. And so but I did the frankincense and I did this whole thing and I went through the apartment and everything. And um you guys are gonna have it in your pamphlet, a very effective technique of um protecting yourself from the effects of anything that gets sent your way in a very karmically sanctioned way. So this is not like you have a vendetta against someone, you're going to go do something about it. This is protection, purely protection. But so I'm really excited that we have the mugwort bundle in here too for the mugwort smudge, because that's like, I didn't know that part. I didn't know that they were gonna that they had inhaled that. So that's safe to do. Like you can actually breathe in that mugwort.
Yeah, I mean, you don't wanna, like, do it for, like, an hour, but it's safe to inhale. You can use it the same as a regular, like, sage bundle smudge, which still have the sage also in that kit, if they wanna use sage for the whole house, but, like, I would use mugwort. I have one of those sage or smudges, and I would burn it at night when I went to sleep, and I had a pretty restful sleep. Um, I think I told you about the one dream that I had where I was seeing, like, those little cannonballs almost that would come down,
Okay.
during medieval times. A
Hmm.
long time ago, we talked about it, and it was, like, the time of when January 6th happened. Um, I saw
Yeah.
these little cannonballs coming down, and the protesters were stomping out the fire, and I remember I was at work, and I was, like, rushing home, because something was going on, and not long after that was when January 6th happened. So, I mean, I've had some
Mm.
weird experiences with dreams too over that course of using mugwort.
Yeah. I remember you have had we've talked about some things, Ain't your first rodeo. That's right. Wow. So yeah, and there's another moment. So like with this tea, having this tea, feeling like these kind of waves coming in, and then even after um frankincense, there's this moment where you feel like it's either released or you feel the valve is off or you feel like a presence is gone. It's like a very distinct energy shift, just as distinctive as you feel when it's happening, when you feel like, oh, there's something up, there's something, when your own spidey senses are kind of going off. So that's why this box is very oogie boogie focused. Like whatever the oogie boogies are, it's targeting that. And then you feel that relief, you feel that release, and it's very, very empowering. It's really interesting that you said that about the folklore about like the fairies throwing these little arrows and things. I wasn't quite sure what I believed about fairies. I know I wanted to believe in fairies like when I was a child, but it wasn't until 2020 when I saw a fairy
Yeah.
that I am a believer. I am absolutely 100% a believer. I mean, you have to believe it or not. Yeah, when you have like those kinds of experiences, but I didn't know that they could be like sort of like nefarious or something. That's kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
would you say that mugwort is a great strong herb for like all of the things, all across the board protection?
Yeah, because in England and Ireland, they used it during the times that witchcraft, like the height of the witchcraft, like the hysteria about all of that. They were using it then too. So
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's absolutely incredible. So, um, I don't do you have any Pisces in your chart? Do you have anything any placements in Pisces? I kind of just remember this Aries, strong Aries energy standing out.
I can't remember if you did my chart not that long ago. I can't remember if I had Pisces in there or not. But that stuff's always fascinated me ever since I was little. Like, and England especially. Like, I've just always been crazy about England. I don't know if it's like a past life thing or what it is, but that's always fascinated me.
That's what I'm thinking. And it's not like you need Pisces, you don't have to be a Pisces moon to be, a psychic or anything. I don't have any super strong significant Pisces. It's just, she's an Aries. So there's the sun and Mercury and Venus are usually they travel pretty closely together. So you're going to usually have those planets. The moon can be anywhere in all the 12 zodiac signs. So I would say actually, you might have some insight into this. Is there a lunation, like a new moon or a full moon, that you kind of prefer for certain types of ceremonial um, herbal stuff, or it's is it kind of like when it comes up?
I mean, for me, this time of year is the best. This is my favorite time of year. So, when is the next full moon? It's like closer to Halloween, isn't it?
Next full moon's I think Sunday, the 9th of October. Let's see. Yes, it is Sunday. So it's coming up. So full moons are definitely going to be very bulbous. It's going to be like, the new moon is an empty cup and the full moon is like the water tower that's filled with all of the water and it's going to be shedding the water from the full moon. So this one that we're on from October 9th to the 25th. And then that's a solar eclipse. So you know, I think this is such great timing for this particular protection box because not only are we entering into eclipse season, but there's also there's a lot of other stuff happening at the same time. A lot of change, a lot of pivots, and we're only responsible for ourselves. We can only control our own responses and reactions to things. So not only is it unpredictable in our own lives and how we show up to it, but other people are going to be tweaking out. Other people are going to be, under a lot of stress or pressure or not knowing what to make of certain things. And, I just want to make sure that none of us are the ones that are going to catch any of that, energy coming our way. So, very, very exciting about that mugwort. And I love how you added that like spearmint and chamomile and passion flower. So you're saying that the sedative quality is the passion flower?
Yeah, that one actually. There's been studies done on that it's helped with seizures because of the sedative properties.
Oh,
So, I mean, anybody they can use mugwort separate. If they wanted to just get mugwort, and maybe later down the line we make that available in pouches because they don't have to use that for sleep. If they wanted to just do a regular mugwort tea, um, that's like an intuitive herb, so that's going to heighten your intuition anyway. You don't necessarily need to use it at sleep time,
mhm.
but chamomile and passion flower are ones that are used quite frequently for sleep because of their sedative properties. Valerian root's another one, and I had that initially in my tea, but it smells so terrible that no one wants to drink it. So passion flower is a better alternative to that because it
Mhm.
like you said, when I first took it, I thought, "Oh, this isn't gonna be," because I work night shift, so for me, on the weekends, I keep my schedule and I'm up till 4 a.m. anyway, so on Saturday, right before I shipped it to you, I used it and I was on the computer doing something and, it hit me all at once and I was like, "Oh my god, I need to go to sleep." So passion flower, I had to make sure I use the right amount because it can really knock you out.
I was impressed with your tea, my lord. I was very impressed. I was because I like. And that's another thing, you guys, like, look at your moon. We're going to keep it simple with the astrology. Like, look at your moon, look at your sleep. If you're interested in astral travel and remote viewing, look at the moon, look at Mercury, see what it's doing. And because like I can stay up, I can be body asleep, but my mind is awake. But this passion flower even affected me where I was able to put the mind to sleep. Like I was even able to like, I was like totally like
Yeah.
yeah, so it was really cool. It was, it's serious stuff here. This is a serious protection box. So, I'm gonna say any lunar phase, I think, is gonna be okay for this so long as you tailor it to your intention, to what you want to do. I'm gonna say, as we actually get closer to Halloween, the eclipse is gonna take place a whole week before then, and this is a solar eclipse in Scorpio. Now it's a partial solar eclipse, so it's a penumbral solar eclipse, but nevertheless, it's still very potent. It's still in a very psychic sign. It's also in a very sort of protective sign. With Scorpio is really all about the bonds and the boundaries. So the only bonds are the ones we allow. And the feeling the power to put up the boundaries when we don't want something to access our space, when the things about granting access to us, granting privacy with us, granting proximity to us are going to be really, really important at the end of October. So this box is going to be like everything you need to get yourself really sorted so that, when that eclipse rolls around, that you have like something to go to. You have, because it's wild energy, eclipse energy. It's very, very wild. So I'm going to say, as we get into eclipse season, not to do any particular moon water making at that time. I'm going to say to sort of steer more towards keeping yourself extremely centered. Sleeping difficulty, I would not be surprised with eclipse energy that people will have difficulty sleeping, even if they normally don't have. If you have a beautiful moon, it's nothing's touching it, nothing's wrong with it, you still might have something, just restlessness as we get into eclipse season. So having these go-to kits and all these things available is gonna do a lot for the, I'm gonna say, the mental health. I mean, it's like I'm saying, like when I had your tea, I was like, oh, you know, it's just like chill, like really chill. And I was very impressed because I've never done like hard drugs. I've only ever smoked marijuana. And so I was like, what's a tea? Let's try the tea. Let's see what happens. But I wasn't expecting like the results that we got from the tea. So, especially if you guys are doing any stuff with astral travel, learning how to astral travel, wanting to learn how to remote view, this tea is going to be really great to help you even get used to that, getting used to accessing different levels of consciousness and feeling that feeling, but like in a very safe way where you're not, going and getting drunk or getting all kinds of twisted and messed up about it, you know.
No,
Um, yeah. And okay, one last thing is this absinthe. So I've seen beautiful absinthe decanters with like beautiful green fairies and like beautiful knobs and like all the filigree associated. And I see the spoons and the sugar cube and all of that. Is that like super dangerous? I've always been like, I don't want to, I can't afford to open any gateways to any portals, any demons. Like I'm already got the target on my back. So, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think the stuff that they make now isn't all that scary because it's not
Oh,
with the same ingredients. Certain things were outlawed that they used. So absinthe was made in Switzerland in the 1800s, and that's when they were using wormwood. And there's different articles and stuff out there about how the like Van Gogh and Picasso and all of them partook in that to heighten their creativity, but it also it also caused hallucinations. I mean, have you ever seen Get Him to the Greek?
yes,
The comedy?
yes.
That part where they're in the bar and they supposedly drink real absinthe and they're hallucinating and seeing like P. Diddy's head just floating in the sky. Like that supposedly it was pretty crazy when they made it back then and had those ingredients in it, but they don't make it that way here anymore.
Oh
Now I
my
don't know,
god.
Maybe Europe has some of that. I mean, there's a whole bunch of herbs out there that you wanna steer clear of.
That's not like regulated by any like formal body of of a board or anything.
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
here, I don't know about other countries, but I know here they don't use the stuff that cause hallucinations anymore.
My God. Whew, okay. Wow.
I had it,
Wowzers.
actually, we have, like, this real old touristy town called Jim Thorpe here in PA, maybe people have heard it. There was an absinthe house there, and it shut down. I guess financially they couldn't do it anymore through the pandemic, and they put the building was up for sale for a crazy amount, not that long ago. It was a restaurant and absinthe house, but they sold the regular stuff that's made here with the you pour it over the sugar cube, and I used one of the photos from there in my
No.
TikTok the other day. It was pretty cool. It was like a really cool little old school lounge, but it's the American absinthe that didn't have any sort of effects.
Wow. Whew, we want to, yeah, we want to stay on this side of sanity, this side of consciousness. That's the thing. It's easy enough to lose one's mind without the help of
Yeah.
of those properties. So, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that because you're the lord of all these such things. So, best to just to ask the professionals. So if you guys have any questions, if you have any questions at all, her email is down there in the description box. Make sure to check out the Papa Cafe, all of that good stuff. Wow. So that was extremely informative. I mean, I can keep you and talk you ask you questions like to the sun rises. But did you have any last little things that you wanted to add about the box or about the tea, anything at all?
Um, I think it has some pretty cool things in it. I like the bath bomb that I found, and we've been looking at different things. So, later down the road, I would assume that you want some of those items individually on your website. You just let me know, and I'll help you get what you need. We will have. I'll get it to you. There's going to be a disclaimer because when you're
Mhm.
using anything, regular medicine or herbal, there's always side effects, and everybody is different. I mean, if I actually have, I can't eat rosemary. I can use lavender, which is the same family kind
Oh.
of, but for some reason, rosemary doesn't close my throat, but it makes it feel itchy.
Oh,
And I hadn't
yeah.
learned that until I was working with herbs at the garden center. So you just have to know your allergies. And I'll get a full list of side effects of anything just so people are aware. It'll be on the website, and in the box so that they know. And you always say, you always want to tell people if they're not sure about something that they're ingesting, make sure they talk to their physician.
Good looking out. Yeah, definitely. If any questions like that come up, ask the physician. But yeah, that sounds great. I mean, all of the things in the box are so freaking cool that absolutely we would want them to be able to like, do like a la carte a little bit. But this is like I love kits like personally. Like I love the whole idea of kits. So we're really excited to be able to do this kit for you guys for this protection. And you want to make sure to order by the 12th to get it in time for Halloween. Even though we have like a limited amount of boxes, we're still going to have them. So I think it's going to be the most fun to do for the Halloween, to have that, especially because, we'll all be about less than a week into the solar eclipse, a partial solar eclipse in Scorpio. So, you might wish you ordered it even sooner because there might be things popping off like, oh my God, left and right that we might need reinforcements and to need that backup. So if you guys want to look in your natal charts to see any kind of psychic ability, first and foremost, look to your psychic houses, which is the fourth house, the eighth house, and the 12th house. It's okay if you don't have any planets in those houses. You want to look to the rulers because you will have planetary rulers for those. For those signs. What would be interesting later on is to correspond those planetary rulers for plants with planetary rulers for psychic houses in people's natal charts and see if there's any, kind of increase of a certain ability or, you know, maybe we can run some studies
Yeah, that'd be cool. I
down
have
the
a
road.
chart. There's a whole chart in this book, so I'll scan it and I'll send it to you. What
Very
herbs are
cool.
ruled by what planets? I thought that was really cool. That was part of my training was the holistic side of it. So
Oh, that's way cool. I love it. Well, that's lovely and exciting. So, you guys are going to get this pamphlet that's going to have all of the very granular, very specific energy work and energy practices, and it's got so much inside. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you so much for answering our questions and for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thank you. I'm excited about it.
Hello and welcome, willkommen, my sweet dear magical friends, to your tarot reading with me, Natalie, spelled Natalee. I hope you enjoyed that very special discussion with Ashley of Apothic Cafe regarding all of the cool witchy herbalist things included in our special edition, Halloween edition of our 6-month supply protection kit. That was so much fun, and I look forward to more discussion in the future. Tuning into your energies, I did pick up something that was actually, it's part of my meditation routine, and it has to do with bringing in new energy into your system, into your fields, into your body, into your life. And that is what was very much highlighted. Tuning into your energy for this tarot reading is new energy. So let's go ahead and take a look and take a gander. As you can see, I'm getting such a kick out of having this microphone here. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. There's just the dryer and the washing machine running, but the door's closed, so you shan't hear much of it. Take a look. Tell me. Ooh. Right away. Now, this speaks directly to the portal, the open portal of abundance, of the two-way equal flow of give and take in relationships, but not just in relationships. This has to do with your connection to universe, source, whatever you want to call it. I like to say the great intelligence behind all manifestation, and basically being attuned to that. So, letting yourself lose whatever is outside of your, I would say, your standards, your energetic standards. What we preach here is truth, love, and integrity. And it's not just in your situations, in your relationships with other people, it's also to yourself. Asking yourself, is this honest and true for me? Is this truthful for me? Is this loving to me? Is this situation? Is this communication? Is this job? Whatever it happens to be, is this loving to me also as an individual? And is this integrity for me? Is this situation or circumstance, is it integrous? Is it whole? Is it complete? Is it for me? Okay, so when you do that, when you sort of align to the energies and you stop discriminating the people, circumstances, and situations, and all of these things that it could be arriving in, and you really just let that go, you enter that two-way flow of abundance and healing with the universe. And it's an energetic, I read something on TikTok that said that maybe like soulmates are atoms. Like we have atoms that were maybe very close together when we were created, and we've just been trying to find each other and just get kind of close again since we were created. I thought that was sort of like a scientific, romantic, take on it. So anyway, so this is basically, the first card is the strongest, so that two-way flow of abundance. And listen, he's got the scales to take measure of, is this fair? Is this equal? He's giving pentacles to one person and not the other. So if you are in a position, sometimes we are the hand that gives, and sometimes we are the hand that receives. So if you are the hand that gives, if you are the former, really make sure that you are balancing those scales and you are taking a very, I would say, like a very discerned, this is where you ask yourself, is this true to me? Honoring your own boundaries. Is this fair to me to extend this? Does this feel really good? Because that energy that you take action on, the energy that you speak on, the energy that you text on, whatever happens to be, I think that's what people maybe refer to when they refer to intention. I have to put in Natalini and speak. So the energy that you do all of that on is the integrity. That's the strength of the integrity of your decision. So when you give, but it is in a state of manipulation, that you want to maybe give a gift or be giving to be perceived a certain way, or to have this righteousness surrounding you, or because it gives you a sense of power over another person, or it grants you some kind of access, or it's taking advantage of some, anything like that. I don't know if you hear, that's my laundry. That's pretty impure. That is impure. And, likewise, accepting from someone else, accepting from a circumstance, accepting from a situation that is not integrity, that is not really equal, that is not fair, that is not judicious, also will come with that bad karma. So it's very, very important. I cannot stress this enough, how important it is to equalize and create a very equanimous give and take relationship with everything in your life. So, if you're giving too much power away to a situation, having good boundaries with yourself, and having, mental health boundaries, physical boundaries, not like overworking yourself physically, all of the things, all of the things. So we're going to open this up more. What is this next energy? What message am I here to? Ooh. 3 cards that popped. We have the Ten of Pentacles, the Temperance energy, and the Fool. So there's absolutely balance that is so important for you. Like if this is, any of this is, this message is for you. If any of this like really resonates, like, oh, that feels so true, that feels so right. Or if this is very, very triggering, if anything I say is like very, very triggering, then this message for you. So you can even see those cups that she's got, these chalices that are balancing, going that, back and forth, trying to bring them into balance. There seems to be a risk or some kind of leap of faith or some kind of very bright, it feels not more like a risk, it feels more like courage. It feels more like the first step on a grand adventure. That's really what it feels like. It feels very courageous to do something or take some action or go for something that is giving it. It's interesting. It's like it's an opportunity for you, and it's also an opportunity that you are taking. So it's like something might open up, or there might be something that you're able to do that will create balance, spiritual balance, in a situation long term for you. Definitely financially for some of you with all these pentacles here. But even if it's not pentacles, even if it's not work or career, this is some situation that is setting you up for a very successful long-term happiness, long-term situation. So this could even be the inception of, sure, it could be a relationship, doesn't have to be, it could be a family thing, doesn't have to be, it could be, anything that is going to, I would say, build some kind of comfort in that longevity. So how you will retire, how you will spend your old age, how you will, this could absolutely be some kind of a real estate thing with the Ten of Pentacles. It's sort of like unique though. Like this is always my, like almost like in Cloud Atlas with like Halle Berry and Tom Hanks, where she's like, oh, your old bones, where it's like, this is the view of like a grandma bringing lemonade to this old dude, it's like, this is within the protection of the boundaries of their estate. So that's his children, his grandchildren, the dogs, everything, all the tapestries of the family, whatever. And it's sort of like this VIP insight into this like behind the scenes of like a, so it's like it's private, and it's also kind of like, I don't want to say it's like exclusive, but it's almost like there might be an opportunity that is just for you, and you may not be able to take other people with you. You may not be able to take your past with you. You may not be able to take your grudges with you. You may not be able to take your distrust with you in order to say yes to it. And even though it could create some kind of long-term security, maybe financially, maybe emotionally, maybe spiritually, it is still protecting you. So you want to make sure that you feel secure, like you feel good about it, like 100%. Even if you are confronting some, the Temperance energy, that's my slow cooker crockpot card. So you may still be, in process of something, still working to achieve balance in some way, shape, or form. And this big step, this courageous leap of, maybe it's a leap of faith, but I'm getting that it's courage. It's very much courage. Um, that has something to do with this too. So this is almost like learning to trust again, if after you've been, horribly, horribly betrayed, heinously betrayed. You have the story of a lifetime. You have the epic, the most epic of epic betrayals in your past or something. It's got that feel of it. Like the Fool is just like this sort of like an absolute energy for me. It is the soul. It is the spirit before stepping down into physical embodiment, into physical manifestation. So it's like when you don't. It's like being a spirit, being a consciousness, floating and just looking down on earth and saying, wow, that looks so much fun to eat chips and to like go ride roller coasters and to do all these things with a body that I can't do, just being like a little spirit floating around. And you don't really conceptualize like the pain that it's gonna be when you're here, and you're not really you don't really understand maybe fully the amnesia that you're born with, that you forget that you're this immortal lovely being. And that's why the little dog was there like like wait a minute, so it's got this sort of almost like wiping of the slate clean slate, especially with temperance being there as well. That's like a very spiritually cleansing energy. What else am I here to say? This is right here to deliver. Ooh, we have the Hermit with the Five of Pentacles. We'll pause there. Yeah, we'll stop there. We have the Tower, bottom of the deck. Eight of Pentacles. I'm sorry, I have to go as I'm guided. And we have the Two of Cups. Ooh. Okay. When you enter the flow, when you really enter the flow, whether that's the two-way portal, you have to open the portal, you have to be in the portal, you have to have that portal sort of like open and operating in your life and in your being, and you sustain it through your brain heart coherence, you sustain it through your meditation. Hopefully you guys are meditating every day, and it's something that I would say you return to energetically in terms of your state of being in order to keep the portal open. So when things don't work out or things don't go as planned, and to learn to trust that, and there might be something that nudges you in a totally different direction or in a very unique direction, and you gotta trust that. Because the thing with the portals, and especially portals, if you have a portal open for healing, if you have a portal open for abundance, like I said, you cannot discriminate how, when, where, why, and all of those kinds of details. You have to trust that the energies are pure, because what ends up happening is you create. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it in terms of creating from the quantum field. And you can talk about it in that context, creating from the quantum field. You can call it creating from other dimensions of reality. You can call it creating from the astral. However, it's all the same thing. You work from there. Put it that way. You work from there, and it's the opposite of matter to matter. It's the opposite of three-dimensional terrestrial embodiment getting things done. And so the shortcuts you might not logically understand how it's a shortcut, how it's something really great for you. And you have to release judgment. You have to release the judgment, because when you do take these like cosmic shortcuts, these opportunities kind of come up for you. They just sort of, you attract certain things, you attract certain people, you attract opportunities, and it just sort of lands in your lap, and things just kind of work out. So, if your pride is getting in the way, or if your worries and fears are getting in the way, you might want to like cast it out. And we do have a full moon coming up in, I wasn't saying Chiron, in Aries conjunct Chiron, and that definitely speaks to addressing feelings of rejection, addressing either feeling rejected or rejecting something that's really great because of fear, because of wounding, or being rejected. So it's like it's one of those things that could actually come up as a blockage, though. You know, we can be throwing out the baby with the bathwater on this full moon in Aries, you know. So, all right, let's start opening this all up. I am going to be using the Tarot of Sexual Magic. So overall, with the Two of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles and the Tower, it definitely just looks like there may definitely be some breakdowns and some crumblings and things just falling through. But maybe even like at the same time, because you have the Fool here and the Hermit here, there may also be other things sort of coming together and working out really well, because it's the divine fire of truth. So truth is going to, this fire is going to burn down whatever is not honest or not, you know, if you're trying to align to truth, love, and integrity, you're trying to be abundant or heal or whatever, and you want something that isn't good for you, and you try matter to matter, you try in three-dimensional reality to make that happen, and it doesn't work out, you might feel discouraged, you might feel, you know, crummy about it. So it's like you want two different things at the same time, and you have these mixed messages, and, you know, it's like, yeah. So some things may not work out, but in other realms, this could definitely be some kind of breakthrough, because it's only going to, when the Tower doesn't destroy, it fortifies. That's why it's a breakthrough. It's just, and that's the thing when you do, how would I put this? Timeline jump, for instance. If you timeline jump, you could have very potential unintended consequences, because you really could skip a lot. And that's a big jump consciously, in your consciousness and your awareness, and getting used to being in a whole different life. I mean, think about it. We have multiple awakenings. It's not just like one big awakening and then you just know everything and you're initiated in knowledge and the esoteric, everything. You have multiple awakenings, maybe even every day. You wake up to something that you realize. You have these realizations, you have these epiphanies. So imagine going through like 45 in one day. Like, that's just a lot for our little human brains to really handle and to really accept. Think about everything that you've woken up to, maybe just in the last decade. And imagine if you had to do all that in a day. That would break your mind. That'd be a lot, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is like a shortcut in something, but it's just like a lot to hold in. It's a lot of new energy to hold in your mind, to hold in your heart, to hold in your life. It's a lot. Your container has to really expand a lot to fit that, to fit such a great, I don't know if it's like a wish coming true or if it's just like healing or abundance, like whatever you want. It looks like it does have something to do with you being maybe like the best at what you do, or at least very skilled. This can also have to do with someone who is maybe an apprentice or learning something, learning how to do something. So there may be some huge breakthrough in terms of a relationship, a work relationship, or working on something. What's the Six of Pentacles? Yes. But this new energy really does feel good. The Lovers, it's funny. The Lover, is that? That's funny. She has, I didn't realize that she has, one has blue hair and the other one has like, it's like, what's that word? It's like strawberry blonde or like yellowy orange. I don't know, but I didn't ever notice that before. It's kind of... All right, let's read from the bookie book about the Lovers in this deck. The Lovers, seduction, the red magic of the plants. Nature is an unerring guide. Plants and animals are examples to be imitated. Magic perfume seduces and sustains us in important sentimental choices. Oh my gosh. You know, it's interesting. There could be like a scent that just transports you to, you know, a memory, or you have some kind of insight that is triggered by a scent. You might actually be someone who is sort of sensitive to certain scents and smells and that kind of a thing. I love the herbal, the magic plant over here that it touched on. So the Lovers is also about making a choice. And it's interesting because the Six of Pentacles is like, it's a similar vibe because he's literally weighing the scales and it's like, you deserve this, you've earned it, and you have to try again. So it looks like you or someone here does have a choice to make in terms of relationship. Here's what I'm going to say about that. Really tune into your gut, like how you intuitively feel about these people. And it might be more than just two choices. There could be like multiple choices. Really feel out now, like if there's an equal give and take, and feel out, you know, project into the future and just feel it out, feel how it feels. And what I like to do is play them all out, play all the options out to the end. Just imagine that you made one choice and follow that through. Imagine you made the total opposite choice and follow that one all the way through, and see how you feel after you've made the decision and you chose one path. How do you feel about it? That'll tell you a lot. It's almost like, or you can even try this too. This is like if you flip a coin in the air, you know, heads this person, head tails that person, and you don't know, it's completely 50-50. You flip the coin in the air and it's not how that coin's going to land. It's who are you hoping for? Are you hoping it to be heads? Are you hoping it to be tails? It's more about that. You know, it's almost like testing fate a little bit. If you're testing fate, but you have a secret hope that you're going to get a specific sign, you're hoping that you're going to get a specific confirmation, that tells you what you really want. That tells you what your choice is. You know what I'm saying? All right, take a look at this Fool, the Temperance energy, and there is luck. There's double luck because this is the cover card of the deck. It's not really supposed to be here, but I was guided to keep it here, so there we go. Oh, the Fool. Ooh, right away, something came out. The Ace of Chalices. Okay. Alrighty, the Ace of Chalices. I feel like you already know. I feel like you already know. I feel like you already know. This is a really nice one. Watch. Ecstasy. Magic of the comb and the brush. Loving magic, crowned by success, satisfaction, festivities. Good reasons to be happy and in love. See, this is like an emotional overflow of happiness. It's like, it's kind of like after you forgive someone and you really just like, you let it all go, or you forgive the situation, you forgive it all. Now, that doesn't always mean that you talk to those people. You know, if someone's abused you or if someone's really toxic, you can forgive the situation and never speak to them again. You have to have your boundaries. You have to hold on to your sacred rage. Anger is exactly there to tell you your boundaries are being pushed on, your boundaries are being crossed. Alarm, alarm, alarm. That doesn't have anything to do with you holding energy inside of yourself. You can still have that boundary with people, with circumstances, that terrible job that treated you horribly, X, Y, and Z, and release the hard feelings in yourself so that you're not a container for all of that pent up stuff that could be obfuscating your judgments and your discernments and your analytical abilities, because you've got the baggage clouding your judgment. So I'm really a fan of this. Like, this is really, it looks balanced. So even though that Ace of Cups is like the cup runneth over, you know, it's the Holy Grail, it looks like that's kind of what's needed in order to bring harmony and balance to a situation. So it looks like a clean slate. It looks like a do-over. It looks like a very new path for yourself. And it looks like it's going to lead to a very lucrative, but also, you know, some form of security, some like long-term, you know, abundance or something. Should I put like spider web stuff on the I'm thinking of like decorating for like, I don't know, Halloween or something. Like, should we make it a little bit more spooky here? Okay. Sorry, that was random. Let's take a look at this Hermit and the Five of Pentacles. Tell me what I'm supposed to say about this Hermit and the Five of Pentacles. Ooh, thank you. One card, the Knave of Wands. That's very long hair. I feel like someone has very long hair. It's very, very long hair. I think I'm gonna grow out my hair. I think I'm gonna go back to going to being very, very long haired. I think that's the vibe. I think that's my new long blue hair. I think that's gonna be the thing. It was fun doing like the blue Marilyn, that was great. But I think I want to do long blue hair. It's gonna be fun. Okay, back to you, the Knave of Wands. That was we're not even there yet, but that's a very Mercury and Libra thing to say. Okay, the Knave of Wands. Abandon the magic of the olive branches. The eccentricities of character do not necessarily lead to unreliability. Is this the Knave or the Knight? It's the Knave. You must look beyond appearances to see the essence of the feelings. This is, okay, what I'm getting with this is, I don't know if someone's embarrassing to you, or if they're just odd, or if they're just weird, or if they don't fit in with your family, or if they don't fit in with your existing friend group. I'm just getting this sort of like they might be like rambunctious a little bit, or they might be, I don't know. This will you'll know what this is if this is for you, but if it almost feels like there's someone that's sort of like, you might not be ready to defend them, or you might not be ready to stand up for them, or you might not be ready to stand next to them. There's something like that. There's something sort of, let me put this. It's whatever it is. It's like maybe they're attractive, or maybe you're just very curious about them, or maybe they're very interesting, whatever it happens to be, but there's still, there's something there. There's something that is making you kind of withdraw. Now, I usually like to say this is you, the hermit, having to go and kind of just like search your own soul, find your own answers. I would only recommend bringing on a mentor, like not someone that you lean on like a crutch. Like, you still have to do the work, you know what I'm saying? So I would bring in mentors, either sporadically, or if it's like an ongoing thing, if just having the correct expectation that they guide you, but you do the work. So that's when it works like the very best. So it's not like just like a dump where you dump everything all on the on the floor, on the table, and then they just like your purse, and then they just like they clean out your purse and they put every item back in. It's not quite like that. They might help you, they might look at everything, and you can ask questions, and they tell you, their thoughts, or their wise words, or anything like that, but you're still the one that has to like pick up the items and decide which ones you're picking up, and decide how you want it organized in your purse. Is an interesting example that just came out of nowhere. So this is what I like about this is the exuberance. Like, the Page of Wands and Knave of Wands is very excitable. Like, that's Tigger energy. That's very fire sign strong energy. So like, maybe it's a young person, maybe it's a person that's like sort of, this could even be someone. Do you remember in 8 Mile when Eminem has that one friend? They're not like dopey, but they're just, I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. They're just sort of like marginalized for some reason. And I think it's the guy that like accidentally shoots himself by putting his gun in his pants or something. It's like there just might be like an oddball in the group, or there's just something sort of or maybe there's something where maybe they always do something a little bit funny or off or something. It's almost like affable. Like, maybe they're very affable, or maybe they're very charming, but they're definitely like out of step somehow. So, but very like, I would feel like this is like charming somehow, like affable and charming, like a little bit off, but you kind of like that. or you might be like that and you're sort of being sent in to just accept that part of yourself and just like live who you are, and not apologize for being a little cringe or a little awkward. The full moons would be so cringe. Yeah, it's gonna be cringe. I mean, I remember whenever since since 2020, the new and full moons in Aries with Chiron, like I always have to be on camera, and I always just feel like I don't want to be on camera right now. You know, like so that's what I'm expecting it to be. It's gonna be my 10th house. So I'm just probably gonna have to. It's just like ugh, I don't want to be in front of people. I don't want to be on camera. You know, and it's like, you know. So, you know, wherever it is in your chart, that's where you're gonna be like. But this is kind of like that, where there's something that's like a little bit too like rambunctious or oversharing or something, and you really kind of just want to handle it alone, or like just be a little bit more behind the scenes, or now here's the thing, don't let anyone rush you if you're not ready to do something, or if you're not ready to talk about something, or if you're not ready to, why does this keep doing this? If you're not ready, you know, like, so get comfortable like with yourself, like with whatever that happens to be. And you know, that could definitely be speaking to some kind of, I would say the fives are always tests, so this can speak to maybe even something in the past where someone failed the integrity test with you, where you trusted someone, you put your faith in them, maybe they asked you, begged you for an opportunity, for a chance, for this, for that, and you said okay, all right, let's see how this goes, okay, and they totally fucked it up. Maybe they totally failed. And so now you could be sort of like sparked, like inspired, and like just really search your soul, and really figure out, you know, if you're making the right decisions from the right place of discernment, right place of discernment. But you have to go alone for that. Like you have to like spend time in solitude in your sacred space, whether you have an entire house, or you have an entire apartment, or you just have a bedroom, or maybe you just have a corner of a bedroom, or maybe you don't even have that and you just close your eyes. You just close your eyes, put on some, cover your ears, and just like go spiritual. Just see wherever you are on planet Earth, you have to be able to, that's the star card. The stars within that lantern, that healing, that meditation. So whatever situation you're in, wherever you are, number one, you can always leave. You can always walk out the door. You can say no. You don't have to take the deal. You don't have to say yes. You never. I have a cardboard. I have two cardboards in here in the kitchen. One says the plot, because it's like, don't lose the plot, and the other one says there is no pressure. So just always remember that, like whatever you're doing, wherever you are, that's your leverage. I got that from Coco Chanel. Your only, what did she say? I forgot, I'm paraphrasing, but she said something like, as a woman, your greatest leverage, your greatest power is to always turn your beautiful back and walk away. So never be afraid to use it if there's something that is truly out of alignment, or you have a really bad feeling about it, you have a bad feeling, your gut stinks about it, whatever it happens to be. I'm not getting that. I just want you to know that you examining your feelings, examining all of these things is going to lead you to the gold. All right, that hermit energy, that's like wisdom. That's priceless. Knowing yourself is priceless. People can only manipulate you when you don't really know yourself that well, and when you're not really confident in yourself. And you know, and it happens sometimes that we lose ourselves, we lose our sense of self, and we lose our self-esteem, and we just like, maybe we spiral, and it's like a temporary thing, but it's the right perfect storm. It's the events, it's the timing, it's this, it's that. It lowers the self-esteem, and that's when the wolves, either the ones that are already circling you, just pretending to care about you, pretending to be your friend, letting you, letting you overspend on them, letting you take care of their family instead of them taking care of their family. You know, whatever the boundaries, whatever it is, those wolves are going to close in. when your defenses get low, or it's going to be new people that come into your life and you have that low self-esteem. You give all your power away to the other person, even if it's like a family member or a best friend or a good friend or a work collaborator, any kind of access. Think about that. With this hermit, you need a sanctuary. You need a private space. You need to ideally at least be able to close the door. When I'm like out too social for too long, I can only do it for like 3 or 4 hours, and then I go to the bathroom and I just shut the door and I have to like recharge. I'm more introvert than extrovert. But you need that solitude, you need that safe space to like realign yourself, to get yourself kind of back together, so that you're making the very strongest decisions, so that you're not making decisions from a place of lack or low self-esteem or insecurity, because that is, the predators, they smell it on you. You can smell it a mile away. And if you don't have good allies around you to protect you and let you go through a hard time, let you go through a depression, let you go through whatever you got to go through and protect you from those wolves, they're going to exploit that. They're going to exploit those insecurities or those wounds, and it'll be that much harder to dig yourself out of. So with that hermit, I am just going to be an advocate for you and to support you to be empowered, feel empowered to control the access that people have to you, the proximity that people have to you, and privacy, when you grant someone privacy with you. So think about that. Access, proximity, and privacy. Those are sacred things that you need to respect and honor in yourself, and you need to find people that want you to have good boundaries, that want you to value those things, and that can show you the respect to apply and apply your principles and take the space that you need. And you know what I'm saying? So, that could even be what this is for some of you, where you needed some space or you needed some distance, and someone consciously or subconsciously maybe took it very personally, and they took it like, oh my God, it's me, or it's this relationship, or they're kind of making it about them, and they maybe guilted you from taking that space, or you asking for a boundary, making it all about them. I don't know, something. So there could be like that issue kind of coming back up again, for some of you. I want to take a look at this tower. We're going to take a look at this tower. Let's take a look at this tower. What is this tower? Judgment's at the bottom of this deck, but we're going to take a look at the tower. What is this tower? Thank you. One card popped. The Nine of Wands. All I can see is this goat in the very, very background. See, I'm all alone. I think it should autofocus. Sort of. Well, he's right there. But this is the one where it just feels like they were friends, and then she just kind of crawls into his lap. It's the Nine of Wands. All right, let's read from the bookie book. Oh man, time, not bad. I've totally succumbed to like whatever your rising sign is, that's how you wake up. And I'm a Cancer rising, ruled by the moon, and my moon is like hostile, under fire in my freaking chart. It's like I zigzag in the parking lot like I'm gonna get shot or something, and that's how I sleep. And so it's just whatever. Some days I'm able to wake up before the alarm, get up like nice and super early, and then sometimes it's just whatever. I just have to go with my own flow. Caressing. The magic of the three little... There are three little birds. The magic of the three little birds. When a situation is suspended or blocked by doubt, you must hurry to resolve it because it cannot go on forever. I'm getting a property. I'm getting this is almost like colonial time property. I'm getting a beautiful high ceilings. What's that called? Some wainscoting, and I'm seeing, oh, what is that called? I wish I knew. It's some kind of paneling where the walls have like a trim inside. It's like maybe, yeah, it's like they have like a trim inside, and they make like these shapes, like just like long up and down rectangles. It's very beautiful. And some of it's wainscoting. It's old, but it's very like rehabilitated. So maybe there used to be wainscoting, and then now there's like some kind of paneling or trimming or something. You guys are more psychic than you think. She's giving me this story. Okay, so example of psychic ability coming through, and then I'll finish this. I was in high school. I had like two friends. I'm always kind of like I'll have two friends at a time, like kind of a person. So it's usually like my good, female friend, and then like I have like a boyfriend or something, like back in those days. But I was walking with I don't even know if we were like together, like dating at the time, but it was like my guy friend and like my girlfriend, and we were walking in Elmwood Park, and we were talking about names, first names, middle names, and surnames. And she was saying that she doesn't like her name. And we're talking about middle names, and I don't have a middle name, but I was sort of obsessed with the name Genevieve. So I was making that my middle name. That's actually another little psychic story, because then I met someone who's going to be very significant in my life, like a year later after I became obsessed with this name Genevieve, and that's her name, Genevieve, and we were friends for a long time. So, but at the time I didn't have, I don't think I had that name like really picked out yet. And I was looking down at the ground, at the sidewalk, and we were just walking and talking about names, and she was saying she doesn't like her, I think she was saying she doesn't like her last name or maybe her first name, I don't remember. And I saw this name written like on a formal document. It was just a flash in my mind's eye. I wasn't paying any attention. And I said, well, at least her name's not Dottie. Dottie. And yes, wouldn't you know it? That's her middle name. That's her middle name. It's Dottie. And I mean, at the time, I just thought it was a very unfortunate synchronicity. I didn't think anything. I didn't think I was psychic. I didn't think it was like a psychic download or anything. I didn't even have that verbiage in my mind, psychic download. I got that from like YouTube after I started watching tarot readings, and I was like, that's a great word for it. So, you guys have moments like that too, or when you have like these little Freudian slips, or when you could be listening to someone talking and then just start to see things. Ask them about it, and just see. But it's like when you're in that, I would say maybe when you're in like an alpha brainwave state, you're just real relaxed, real calm, is when that stuff can drift in. Okay, 9 of Wands. When a situation is suspended or blocked by doubt, you must hurry to resolve it, because it cannot go on forever. To clarify the Tower. So this is definitely that all being broken through. So this might be that you're getting closer with someone in a work relationship, or that you're getting closer with someone in a professional setting, or that if there has been any kind of blockages or holdups in the professional setting, and especially if you're working on something, there can be like a nice breakthrough where there's a breakdown. The untrue part, like the defenses or the doubts, that's the demolition. And then the breakthrough, what gets fortified with this divine fire, is either the bond itself, or it is what you're working on. And it may have something to do with somebody's skill level. So someone might get a lot better at something too. Ooh, that's exciting. Okay, let me just do a little quick overview here. Is there anything else that I want to say? Anything else that I'm getting? Oh, okay. So for somebody that are making a decision of, if you're the hand that gives, if you're extending some kind of opportunity, the right person, choosing the right person, is some kind of huge breakthrough. And you're really happy with it. I feel like you already know. So just trust yourself without the doubt. That Mercury in Libra can be analysis paralysis, and you can go back and forth forever. But like the card says, it cannot go on forever. So, trust yourself a little bit. But I would say definitely take that, whether you've already had time alone or in that safe space, or whether you need more of that to bring into your sort of confidence about what you're doing. And then just trust yourself. Just trust yourself after you tune into yourself. Okay, let's get your divine feather. Let me tell you this. If this is you choosing someone, you choose the right, I'm going to say you choose the right person. It's equanimous. It's equal. It's equanimity. You know, there's a lot of respect. What's interesting is like that 10 of Pentacles, I just like there's respect. You're going to choose some equal arrangement or some equal thing. And this Hermit with the 5 of Pentacles, like I would say, like just also be very empowered to privacy. Like if you don't want to say anything, like the Knave of Wands is like shouting from the rooftops, but like if that doesn't resonate with you, like don't say anything. You don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to say anything to anyone. Okay, what's this divine feather? Like the privacy again, like your right to privacy. Raven, the universe is calling you to notice important synchronicities. I feel like you're also hoping for certain synchronicities, so just like let it show you. Oh my god, then you have 3 feathers. You have Condor, hold the highest vision for your life. You now possess the ability to move past any hurdles. That. The highest vision for your life. That's like, don't sell yourself short. Don't emotionally embrace the worst case scenario. And, you know, we get it as far as survivalism is concerned. You know, when you prepare for the worst, anything less is going to be like a better outcome. Sure, we get it. Prepare for the worst, you know, hope for the best, but don't emotionally embrace the worst outcome. Don't project your mental energy into that timeline. That's not the one you want to connect with. You want to emotionally embrace the very highest vision that you have for your life. Ren, be bold and confident. Use all of your resources to create your dreams. That's kind of interesting. They pull out the resources. Use all of your resources to create your dreams. Because you have like you have a lot of pentacles here. You have the 6 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. So there can also be a challenge or some kind of, I'm going to say like test to your confidence, test to your like confidence of like being able to create your dreams, being able to live your dreams, being able to, here's the thing, having a body, having a physical body is like having a ticket to Middle Earth. Your body is your pass, is your access to being able to create in this reality. It's like having an avatar in Guild Wars. So using all of your resources to create your dreams, it's almost like seeing the long game, like not seeing these little obstacles in terms of like, oh, this is a sign to go back. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got to get to Mordor, you know, like getting caught in the spider web and all that stuff. It's not all like, oh, this is not my destiny. I got to go back now. You know, it's like, no, we got to put this ring in that freaking volcano. You know what I'm saying? It's a volcano, but you know what I'm saying. But you have to be, this is what I was getting with the courageousness. Be bold and confident, being courageous. And then you have the hummingbird, release what you've been carrying and lighten up, new joy is on the way. So yeah, definitely releasing fears and doubts. But that's you like really needing to learn to trust yourself and really tuning in and really being honest with yourself about the black holes in your life that are just like pulling on you and just pulling your energy and not feeding you any new energy. This download I'm getting is about new energy. So whatever changes are coming up for you, it's to create more new energy to come into your life. Doesn't mean it always has to be new people, or new situations or new jobs. Sure, it can be, but it's like fresh energy, fresh ideas, fresh. That was like, that could just be, that could be a big thing here, like just freshening your energy, where it's not like stale and crusty, new energy, new people, new ideas, fresh ideas, just like a breath of fresh freaking air. So, but to do that, you have to release what you've been carrying. You've been lugging around crusty energy, and you're not going to think greater than these feelings if you're just staying insane on the record. So, you spin me right round and right round like electric people. Okay. New joys on the way. I love you guys. Take very good care. Until next time, my loves and many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings. Mwah.